In this video, you will learn how to begin a search for a SoTL topic in Google Scholar. We will touch on keyword searching, search operators in Google, setting up library links, and the Cited By feature. You can start simple and broad in Google Scholar. Let's say I'm interested in finding literature on the use of self-evaluation methods for oral presentations. I might start with a search like self-evaluation, oral presentations. Let's pause for a moment to highlight a couple of things with this search. Number one, quotation marks are useful for searching in most databases and are particularly useful in Google Scholar because it does search so widely. The purpose of quotation marks is to tell Google Scholar that you want to retrieve results with this exact phrase, oral presentations. You want those words to appear right next to each other in that order. Number two, if you're used to searching in academic databases that require the use of operators like and or, you might be surprised to know that and does not actually have an effect in Google Scholar. If you put multiple terms into the search at the same time, Google is going to search for all of them by default. Whenever you're searching for literature, it's always a great idea to brainstorm more keywords to describe your topic. This is particularly true with SoTL, where there is not a relied upon vocabulary to use. You might already be aware of alternate keywords, or you could brainstorm by having a look at some of your initial results and seeing what terms are being used in the titles. In Google Scholar, you can scroll to the bottom and see a list of related searches. And you might choose to add some of these terms to your search, or if you click on one of the search strings, you can actually run the search right there. I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and let's say I want to add self-assessment and self-grading as search terms. Because these terms that I'm adding are alternatives for my term self-evaluation, what I'm going to do is put a set of brackets around self-evaluation and add my new terms within the brackets using or. So I'll add a set of brackets. Then after self-evaluation, I will type or self-assessment or self-grading, and then a closing bracket. I can now run this new search, and by doing this, I end up with more results because I've given Google Scholar more possible terms to work with. I can do the same thing with my other concept, oral presentations, by again adding a set of brackets around that term and adding some other terms. For example, I will add or oral presentation or public speaking, closing bracket. At this point, you'll want to have a good run through the search results and see what articles you would like to read. If you have a Google account, it's possible to save articles by just clicking the star next to the word save underneath each article. Even better, if you're using a citation management program such as Zotero, you can export results from Google Scholar using the Zotero connector that appears in your toolbar. You can think about adding more terms to your search, such as the type of student you're interested in. So it might be graduate students, engineering students, international students, etc., or a methodology you would like to explore. You could also search directly for a term like Scholarship of Teaching and Learning or SoTL. Once you've had that initial browse of the results, you could also look at narrowing your search by using the in title or all in title option in Google. By typing in title in front of a search term, you're telling Google Scholar that that term needs to appear in the title of your results. For example, if I add in title with a colon after it at the beginning of this search, I'm now requiring that one of my terms, self-assessment, self-grading, or self-evaluation, needs to appear in the title. If I put in title colon in front of oral presentation, that term needs to appear in the title. However, if I put all in title with a colon at the beginning of my search, then all of the concepts in the search need to appear in the title. A few more tips about Google Scholar. The asterisk, which is handy in many databases as a truncation symbol that searches for variations of a root word, does not work in Google Scholar. Google Scholar will do automatic stemming. So if I search for the word student, it's automatically going to include students. If there is a word that you would like to exclude from your search, you can put a minus sign in front of it to tell Google Scholar that you don't want to see it in your results. Let's talk now about library links, which is a useful feature in Google Scholar to help connect you with the full text that might only be available through your institution. To set up library links, click on the hamburger menu on the top left of the screen. Click Settings, and then click Library Links. From here, you can search for your library, and once you have found it, you can tick the box that appears beside it and click Save. Now, to the right of your search results, you will find any access links that Google Scholar has provided, as well as a link through your institution. Finally, a quick word about the Cited By feature. Under each result in Google Scholar, you'll find a series of links. There's a link to save the article, as we discussed earlier, a cite link, which presents you with several versions of the article citation in some of the most popular citation styles. These are often incorrect, so please do double check them. And a cited by link, which appears if the article has been cited at least once. Clicking on this link will bring you to a list of the articles that have cited the one you have clicked on, which is a really great way to track down more relevant papers. This process is called forward citation chaining. I'll also point out the related articles link, which gives suggestions for other articles that Google Scholar's algorithm has deemed to be related. Let's recap what we've learned. Start broadly in Google Scholar before you narrow your search. Experiment with different keywords. And is not necessary in Google Scholar, but or can be used to include more possible keywords. When you're using or as part of a search, use brackets around the terms. Tricks like quotation marks, in title, and all in title can help you narrow down your search. Library links can help you access more articles through your institution. The cited by or related articles functions can help you find more literature. Thanks for watching.